Zimbabwe is getting hotter politically. And right now, the fight inside the ruling party is becoming more serious than many people expected. What is happening behind the scenes is no longer small politics. This is now a full power battle. And many people close to government are becoming worried about where this whole situation is going. Chiwenga is now moving carefully but strongly, and the message reaching top political circles is very clear. There are powerful people who are no longer happy with how things are being handled around President Mnangagwa's leadership. And one thing you must understand is this. In Zimbabwe, when powerful political people begin to move quietly, something serious is normally happening behind closed doors. The country has seen this before. The signs always start slowly. First, you hear strong speeches. Then you hear warnings. Then alliances begin changing. Before you know it, the whole political atmosphere becomes tense. So right now, many Zimbabweans are watching very carefully. And before we continue, quickly like this video and subscribe to the channel, because we are bringing you the real political gist exactly the way it is happening. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss any big update. Now let us go deeper into this matter. What is making this whole issue serious is that Chiwenga is not just an ordinary politician. This is a man with deep roots in the military system, a man respected by many liberation war veterans, a man who has powerful connections inside important state structures. So whenever his name begins appearing around political tension, everybody pays attention immediately. And right now, the atmosphere inside ZANU PF is becoming uncomfortable. There are reports of disagreements behind closed doors. Some powerful members are pushing one direction, while others believe the country is moving the wrong way politically. At the center of all this confusion is the future leadership of Zimbabwe. Many people now believe the fight is no longer about opposition parties outside government. The real battle is now inside the ruling party itself. And honestly, this is where things become dangerous politically, because internal fights are usually harder to control. One group believes President Mnangagwa should continue holding strong control over the party and government structures. Another side believes there must be respect for constitutional processes and leadership transition discussions. Now, viewers, this is where the situation becomes emotional for many Zimbabweans, because ordinary citizens are already struggling economically. Prices are rising. Jobs are difficult to find. Business owners are suffering. Young people are frustrated. So, when citizens see political leaders fighting for power while the economy remains difficult, emotions naturally become high. And many people are now asking one simple question. Who is really thinking about the future of ordinary Zimbabweans? Because every day, the political drama becomes bigger. And viewers, let me tell you something very important. Politics in Zimbabwe is never simple. What you see publicly is normally only a small part of the full story. The real conversations happen quietly, behind closed doors, powerful meetings, secret discussions, strategic alliances, careful planning. That is how Zimbabwean politics works. And right now, those quiet meetings are becoming more intense. Some senior political figures are reportedly worried about the direction the country is taking politically. Others fear internal divisions could weaken the party before future elections. And there are also concerns that some powerful businessmen are becoming too influential inside politics. This issue has also become part of the national conversation. Many citizens are now questioning the growing closeness between political leaders and wealthy business figures. Critics say some businessmen now appear too connected to power. Supporters argue these business figures are helping national development and investment. But regardless of which side people support, the public conversation around influence and money is growing louder every day. And you know something interesting? Zimbabweans are no longer keeping quiet like before. Social media is now full of debates. People are openly discussing succession politics. Citizens are analyzing speeches. Every statement from senior leaders is now being examined carefully. That alone tells you how serious the situation has become. And viewers, please do not forget to like this video and subscribe because this story is becoming hotter every single day. Now let us talk about Chiwenga carefully. Many people believe he has been patient for a long time, very patient. But lately, political observers have noticed stronger signals coming from his side. The language around him is changing. The energy around him is changing. Even some people close to liberation war circles are beginning to speak more boldly. That is not normal, especially in Zimbabwean politics, where powerful leaders usually avoid direct confrontation publicly. And another thing making people nervous is history. Zimbabwe has experienced major political shifts before. The country knows what political tension feels like. Citizens remember how quickly things changed in the past. One moment, everything looked stable publicly, and the next moment, the entire political direction changed completely. That memory is still fresh for many people. This is why current developments are making citizens very uncomfortable. Now, some people believe Mnangagwa still remains fully in control politically. And to be fair, he still has loyal supporters inside government and party structures. Many leaders continue defending him strongly. Some believe he deserves more time to finish his plans for the country. But others believe internal frustration is growing faster than many people expected. And viewers, when frustration begins growing inside powerful political circles, things can change quickly, especially when military-linked voices begin entering political discussions more openly. Now, let us also speak honestly about the youth. Young Zimbabweans are tired, very tired. Many young people feel disconnected from elite political battles. They wake up every day trying to survive. Some are cross-border traders. Some are unemployed graduates. Some are hustling online. Some want to leave the country completely searching for opportunities abroad. Yet every day, national headlines are dominated by political fights. This frustration among the youth is becoming serious. Because young people want practical solutions. They want stable incomes. They want working hospitals, better roads, stable electricity, business opportunities. They want a future they can believe in. But instead, political tension keeps increasing. And one thing politicians sometimes forget is this: economic pain can slowly become political anger. When citizens continue struggling while leaders fight publicly, public trust begins reducing slowly. That is exactly why this current situation matters so much. Now, another thing making this whole story interesting is how carefully many leaders are speaking. Notice that nobody wants to say too much openly. Everybody is choosing words carefully. Speeches are now being analyzed deeply. Even body language during public events is now becoming news. That is how tense the atmosphere has become. And honestly, viewers, many insiders now believe Zimbabwe is entering another important political chapter, a very important chapter. The next few years could completely shape the future leadership direction of the country. Will the ruling party remain united? Will there be peaceful understanding between powerful factions? Or will internal divisions continue growing bigger? That is the big question. And remember this carefully. Power struggles are never only about leadership positions. They are also about influence, protection, loyalty, legacy, and future control. That is why these battles become emotional and complicated. Now let's talk about the ordinary people watching all this happen. Some citizens are scared about instability. Others are simply tired of politics completely. Some still believe things will improve eventually. Others believe major change is necessary. Zimbabwe today is emotionally divided politically, and social media is making everything even more intense because information now spreads faster than before. One statement trends everywhere within minutes. One political meeting becomes national discussion immediately. One speech can completely change public mood online. That is why every move by senior political leaders is now being watched closely. And viewers, if you are enjoying this political gist, quickly like the video and subscribe right now because more hot updates are still coming. Now, here is another serious issue. There are fears that if internal tensions continue increasing, future elections could become more complicated politically. Because once a ruling party begins experiencing deep factional fights, unity becomes harder to maintain. And remember, Zimbabwean politics has always been strongly connected to liberation struggle history. Loyalty networks run deep. Military relationships matter. Historical alliances matter. Personal trust matters. So when divisions begin appearing among senior figures, the effects can spread across many structures. This is why regional leaders are also watching Zimbabwe carefully. Southern African politics is connected in many ways. What happens in Zimbabwe can affect business confidence, migration, diplomacy, and regional stability. That is why neighboring countries always pay attention whenever Zimbabwe experiences internal political tension. And viewers, something else very important is happening quietly. Citizens are becoming more politically aware than before. People are asking more questions now. People want accountability. People want transparency. People want leadership that focuses more on development than political fights. And honestly, this growing political awareness among citizens could become one of the biggest factors shaping Zimbabwe's future. Because once people begin losing emotional connection with political leadership, trust becomes difficult to rebuild. Now, many Zimbabweans are asking whether Chiwenga could eventually become more direct politically. That question is now everywhere. Some believe he is waiting patiently. Others believe he is strategically calculating every move. And some believe powerful negotiations are already happening behind closed doors. But one thing is certain, nobody can ignore him politically. Nobody. His influence remains very important in Zimbabwean politics. And that is why every signal connected to him creates major national attention immediately. Meanwhile, Mnangagwa supporters continue defending him strongly. They believe he still controls the political system firmly and can manage the internal tensions successfully. They argue that opposition voices and internal critics are exaggerating problems for political reasons. So, this is not a one-sided story. Zimbabwe remains politically complex, very complex. And honestly, viewers, the next phase of this political story may become even more dramatic because power struggles normally become more intense as leadership questions become bigger. The closer the future leadership discussions come, the more pressure usually increases inside political parties. That is exactly what many people believe is now happening slowly in Zimbabwe. And ordinary citizens are watching carefully every single day, some with hope, some with fear, some with frustration, some simply waiting to see what happens next. But nobody is ignoring the situation anymore. Nobody. The atmosphere is changing. The political language is changing. The energy is changing. And when political energy begins changing inside powerful systems, smart people pay attention immediately. Because history has shown many times that major political shifts normally start quietly before becoming visible publicly. Zimbabweans know this very well. And that is why conversations around Chiwenga and Mnangagwa continue dominating national discussions right now. Anyway, viewers, this gist is getting hotter and deeper, and there is still a lot more to explain about the behind-the-scenes power movements, the role of war veterans, the growing pressure around succession politics, and what insiders are now fearing privately.